the Dubs. Oh, sorry, did I say out loud?
Perfect timing, just as we've gone live. Right, Andrew's just taken one layer off. We're doing
Sorry. I didn't know we were gone live.
Strip tipping with the finishing line, boys. That's the reason we managed to get them on. We've got Andrew and Sean joining us from the finishing line. I've put the YouTube channel link in the description below. Obviously, you're already subscribed, but if you're not, do go and subscribe. Also, while you're there, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because why wouldn't you be? We've obviously got Jamie here too, just to keep it fair, because I felt like I'd probably get teamed up on if there was too many of you. And then we sort of told Tom he could come along, but then he's faked some sort of tooth injury, hasn't he? It's like a stone bruise for a human, I think. So Tom's sitting this one out, but hopefully we can redo one of these maybe on your channel or whenever, and we can get everyone together. First of all, gentlemen, how the devil are you doing? And thank you for coming on. Andrew, I'll start with you. You've been at Gowran today. How was that?
It was fantastic. The big, beautiful chestnut-looking bastard won. That's all that matters. My life is complete. My two, Bob Ollinger and the big, beautiful chestnut-looking bastard won in the same month. 2024 can't get any better right now, as far as I'm concerned.
And how about you, Sean? Just as excited about seeing Fish Cake back?
Oh yeah, it was great to see. It didn't look likely now, I'm gonna be honest with you. He was at the back and I thought maybe he might just tag away and come home and we'll have another day. But Jesus, when Paul down and asked him, he picked up. Very impressive. And Andrew, I'd say Andrew probably had to be picked up off the floor at Gowran. I'd say he had a little moment there now when he came over the line, but it was great to see.
I felt it coming along, Sean, and I had to look manly in front of the lads.
Well, it's one of those. It's probably like the perfect start going into like a decent weekend racing. Monkfish, two-time Cheltenham Festival winner, obviously getting it back. It's the result that everyone wanted to see for the fans. But this weekend, especially at Cheltenham, there's some dirty races with loads of festival clues as far as I'm concerned. Because Mother Nature's been scuppering lots of races as well, I think we've got deeper, better fields. So it's a testimony to prove that if there is less racing, we get better quality. We're going to go through all of the Cheltenham races. If you've got more time or you want to go for anything else elsewhere, we will, because there's some good stuff at Doncaster as well. And still some decent racing on your side of the sea too. We're going to crack on straight up with it if everyone's happy to. We'll kick off with the Triumph Trial. Jamie, are you ready to go straight in, or do you want to get anything off your chest while we're here? No, that's a different show, right?
That's a different show, Dave.
I want to hear rants.
Well, you're on a tree. We're more important to you when it comes to the racing world, Dave. Remember that now. So, the first race? What is it? Burdett Road and Sergino and Milantino and all that crap over the Brits. We haven't seen Salvatore Mundi,
it's the finesse, isn't it?
Ashborough and Anzadam and all them, so they're probably better in it. But look,
no, don't worry about them. So yeah, it's the finesse, isn't it? We've got Burdett Road's in there at 11-10. Sergino's 13-8. Sergino's had a form boost apparently today with the horse back in behind going in there. The rest of them, I don't want to be rude to them, but they're a million in my eyes. It's a proper clash between the best of the two British horses. Which side of the fence are you sat on, Jamie? Burdett Road or Sergino?
I'd be with Sergino, yeah, for definite. It's the turn of foot from the second last to the last in Kempton. No, he does need to brush up his jumping, obviously. He does jump like he's still an all-tie, but look, I'm sure they learned 2 hurdles in the last 7 furlongs. That Cheltenham is going to suit him down to the ground. Of course, we were there, Dave, when you were pissed at the November meeting of the stand there at Cheltenham, and we saw Burdett Road, and you can't even remember what happened. And you looked to me, Jesus, what happened there? But he'll get too far behind, I think, Burdett Road, and he doesn't jump well enough for me. Was it the Sire? This is more Harars. Those more Harars are muck, in my opinion. And yeah, not very confident, to be honest with you, but I'd be all over Sergino here, yeah.
Not very confident, but all over. Semi-oxymoron. But 13-8 years, I think he's a fair price. He's going to attract a few of them. I'll come to you first, Sean. I know you do lots of timepieces as well. Any clues you can give us about, especially the Burdett Road run at Cheltenham, right? Because I saw him out the back. I thought they held him out the back because the ground was so slow that they weren't sure if he was going to get it. I don't think they rode him like they knew he was such a beast. But then all of a sudden he showed that he probably was one. Quicker ground seemed better to effect, do we think? And do you think he deserves to be favourite? I quite like him.
Yeah, look, I think he's definitely the standard setter so far. What we've seen coming in, look, he had a high rating on the flat coming in, and he went and won the first day doing it all wrong, and the second day at Cheltenham, I think, was about teaching him a lesson. Look, his jumping is horrific now. It's like he doesn't show any respect to a hurdle whatsoever. He's kicking them out of the way and he's doing everything wrong. And I like Sergino. Sergino will be my pick. I just think that race at Cheltenham, look, and Braden Fossa is where he is. He ain't going to be competing in a Triumph, and that's simply how it is. I don't even think he'd be competing in the Boodles, to be quite honest with you. I know it was a graded race that he went on to win after, but Balboa was back in second there, and he was murdered by Salver at Chepstow. And then the third that came down at the last was beaten at 1-5 yesterday. So I think the form, look, he beat them well. He beat them with 6.5 lengths with plenty left, but I don't think the form is anything to write about. And Sergino, look, he's going to be a proper test now here for me. Coming over from France, came from the same race that Salvador Mundi, the talking horse from the Willie Mullins, both of them bought by the Donnellys. And look, his jumping is definitely better than Burdett Road, but he did leave his leg in the fourth and he left his leg in the last. But what I liked is when Nico asked him after the last, he done nothing but quick into that line, and I like seeing horses hit the line like that. I think there's plenty under the bonnet. I'm hoping they've brushed up on his jumping a bit more schooling, and I think if Burdett Road is to sit behind, to quicken to get to Sergino and to quicken to go by him, he's going to have to be a monster. So it's going to be Sergino for me.
Christ, Andrew, I mean, it's like I say, at the betting we've got it at the moment up on the screen, 11-10 favourite Burdett Road, 13-8 for Sergino, but it sounds like everyone's going Team Gino. Where do you sit?
I don't like any of them. That's the God honest truth. We done this yesterday, and like Salvo, but he's not running now. So like, it's the best of the worst jumpers. Who's going to jump the best? Is what it will come down. Like Burdett Road's jumping is absolutely horrific. You can't even call it jumping, can you? It's like hurdle. Get out my way, please. He might jump one in it, but then Sergino's got jumping didn't convince me either on his first start over hurdles. It's Burdett Road. Look, he's a standard setter. We saw at Cheltenham the engine is there and it's a rapid engine. He can make up lengths in the blink of an eye, and he can run past horses in the blink of an eye when he gets to them. I'm not going. This is totally fence sitting because I won't back any of them. Towards Saturday, I'd probably side with Sergino because his jumping is the least worst out of both of them. But I can't see any of them winning at Cheltenham, to be totally honest with you. Sergino, he has the potential with being with Nicky Henderson. Burdett Road has the flat class, but his jumping is just horrific. If you had a gun to my head and I said pick between two, I'd probably pick Sergino.
Christ almighty. I mean, it's very diminished views, isn't it, of the fact that we think that they're sort of average and not that good. I reckon they look all right, to be fair. The thing
Have you seen his jumping? I say jumping. I say jumping. I use that word very loosely.
But I do get that. But in terms of yards...
Dave needs to put on his specs, Andrew. He doesn't have mine at all.
If one of them was to bolt up in here, then I believe that they like as much we can dig up the form some of the other races and we can talk about jumping and stuff. If one of them's to batter the other one, they're going to have to show some ability, I think. If they're fairly close, regardless if they pull clear of like the field, then I do think it's going to be going over to Ireland. But I feel like if one of these two trounces the other one, and there's not too many excuses with jumping or the way they're ridden, I think ground will be fine for both of them. I reckon we'll be seeing the Triumph hurdle winner. One other horse I do want to quickly give a mention to, though, is Le Favre, which is French for the beast. For Harry and Dan Skelton, already got 2 spins into the horse. We've had one in Ireland. In France. They ran it at Aintree and was fairly eye-catching behind Liari. It just looked like he definitely needed the run, or maybe they wanted him to need the run. They're going to be running him in here. I'm pretty sure they'll better scoot another run in before the Boodles. I reckon this horse is going to be the best of the British for the Boodles. So I'll be interested to see how close they don't want to get into it. But we'll see where he finishes well in there. He's a big old price in here. They will not be trying, but he is definitely a horse that will win a pot by the end of the season. I guarantee you. Should we move on?
So yeah, it won't be like the Scantons that they want the Scantons.
Definitely not. They want to go through the card every single day. They want to win every single handicap, don't they? I think we've got a couple of chances for the Grand Annual this year as well by their count.
How much are you paying him, Dave?
What, to hold the horses back? 0 pence. Can't afford to dodge anymore. 12
Jesus,
right? We've got the
certain trainers, not naming trainers, did that in Ireland. Sure, they'd be up in front of court. Up the
steps. Oh, Jesus.
Tomorrow.
And everywhere.
Not how.
Band,
I know it's a Cheltenham. We're not talking
taking
about
pictures down the back of the outside the horses, boxes and everything. But if you do that in Britain, we can't beat the Irish.
Right, novices handicap chase coming up. 2 mile, 4.5 furlong. There's the handicap proper that comes after this one. This is typically a race that will give us a few clues towards Cheltenham, but unfortunately, we've lost one of the best handicaps at the festival in the novices. Ginny's Destiny's in there. Paul Nichols, he always said when he got this horse from Lacey that he thought he was pretty good. The only time I've bet it this season was the first time it ran when he got beat. Does seem to be improving a little bit, but don't think it's that good a horse, is it? It wouldn't be the type of race that I'd be looking to have an actual bet in. So I'm useless in terms of a preview for punters for the weekend. I will say that I touched on some of the Skelton horses. This isn't just like me Skelton fanboying, but Unexpected Party. Plenty of people are touting him as a Grand Annually type horse. Be interested to see what they do with Nube as well, to see if they send him in there to keep the weights down. But I'll just be watching this race with a view to some of them hopefully being all right for handicaps when it comes to March or even at Aintree in April. Jamie, I'll come back to you, mate. You started the last time. You could start on this one. The novices handicap chase. Ginny's Destiny, I think you bet it the day. Did you bet it the day that the other one fell? In Excelsior Deo?
No, I backed him the day we were there on the Sunday, the November meeting, yeah.
That's it, yeah. You still keen on him? Do you think there's more to come?
Well, I suppose, Dave, the only thing is, the form has been franked, obviously, by Sean Dunn's favourite grey horse in the world.
Andrew's the great. Andrew loves the grey lad.
For the English viewers, they don't even know what On the Dicky is, Sean, so we will leave that off that time.
All right, fair enough.
But anyway, Ginny's Destiny, yeah, I like him. I suppose he'd want to be winning this, or Stage Star won this and went on to the Turners then after this. So, like, I think, look, Cobden is going to keep it simple. Buck him out in front and catch me if you can, kind of a thing, really. I suppose after that, I don't really like anything in here to bar him. And I suppose you'll be watching Unexpected Party with, like, he's £5 lower now for running in 2 graded races. The handicapper dropped him £5 for what? He was nowhere in the Paddy Power. Well,
the handbrake being through the ceiling.
Handbrake, yeah. So there's a reason why he's 14 to 1. Like, he should be 5-6 to 1. So we're like, the handbrake is going to be on, obviously, for the Grand Annual. But the only thing I think with Unexpected Party, he needs about a 2-3 runner field and he can dominate. And I don't think he'll win no handicap at Cheltenham, so I don't know what they're at. But I suppose he's the watching horse in this. But yeah, but not really much confidence. I probably will back Ginny's Destiny, because I think they think it's a Turner's horse. But to me, there's no chance in the Turners. But look, leave them off. Didn't they beat the so-called Irish banker last year with Stage Star? So look, I suppose a tentative selection with Ginny's Destiny. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think it's one of those, isn't it? We have got some decent racing all weekend, so don't have to get stuck into every race. Maybe that makes us look less deep into these ones. I know it has for myself. Andrew, how about yourself? Have you found a handicap block that's ready to win, or are we still waiting for something?
I think he's at the top of the market, really. As Jamie said, look, his form has been franked by Great Dawn and the horse that was in third. What's his name again? Trelawn. He should have won the other day. But he decided to take a detour out to the car park and back in to try win. But that form is stacking up really good. We all know what Great Dawn has done since he's after winning his last 2 races at Cheltenham. I know he's carrying top weight, but look, he's the horse coming in here on the crest of a wave. And look, as James said, there's not much more there I would actually look into, really. I think Unexpected Party would need to start right now to beat it. He's obviously one that's going to be held back again. But yeah, there's not much in it to really take him on with. So it's kind of down to go with the tried and tested and go with the horse where the form has been frank. So I think Genie's Destiny, as Jamie said, will be bucked out in front. Catch me if you can. I don't think they will catch him.
Ooh, interesting. Sean, is it going to be boring again? Like everyone just goes for Sagina, everyone just goes for Ginny's Destiny. And I will, not just because we've got the Irish on, but Gavin Cromwell sending over Railway Hurricane. It's the only horse that I can see there's like a little bit of money for. In terms of what it's been against with Ginny's Destiny, it's £1 lower than when it ran against him before. Ginny's Destiny's gone through the roof since that time. Was a little bit unlucky the last day when it ran. Does Ginny's Destiny just win? Is there anything else you like the look of?
Yeah, look, he definitely deserves his place at the top of the market, as the lads have touched on. Like, that form the last day, like, we could be looking back at that and probably looking back as far as 5th and 6th for handicaps come Cheltenham, to be honest with you, because you have horses in there. Although he was lucky to win, Grey Dawn didn't make the mistake, he won, but he was still well there. And as Andrew touched on, Trelawn should have won the last day, beating Conall Harry if he didn't decide to take a detour around Wetherby. But I think just a horse that's a bit of a bigger price, tighten our belts. think he could outrun his odds. He's 8-1 in there, and look, he jotted up in first time out up over fences where he won hard held. The race was over halfway. He was then thrown in the deep end into graded races where he ran against the Nichols horse, Hermes Allen, and Nickelback. Look, the both of them have went on and run well in graded races, and then himself, Toynton Arbelt, went into the Cotto Star, and look, that was a monster in that, and he didn't get anywhere near it. I think this is back down to his level. He's back in a handicap here, and I wouldn't be surprised he finds it a lot more comfortable and can run on a big race. So if he was one for an outsider, maybe each way or 8-1, I'd say Toynton Arbelt is one.
Oh, I like it. I mean, I'm very definitely interested in Railway Hurricane. It's been hampered at the start. I think a couple of starts ago.
Yeah, he's a bit of a nuisance. He's a bridal merchant now. You get excited about that lad, and then all of a sudden nothing happens, and you get yourself.
I'd beat him running up a hill.
But they've got the man Sam Twiston Davis on board. I was just having a look there. Like I said, I haven't done the race properly, but I feel just because of a little bit of nibble for him, I haven't had a bet on him. I'm not suggesting that he would be a bet, but he's one that's tempering me. I'm just terrified with Ginny's Destiny that I know it's been like beating Grey Dawning. If he hadn't have banked that fence, I think Grey Dawning would have beat him. The form would still stand up now and it would look quite good. But I'd just be disappointed if it goes and wins it. But maybe it does. Let's move on. Let's look for a better handicap, Chase, if we're happy with that. This is the Premier handicap. It's got Premier status. We do see some novices that normally come in here, but it looks like they've decided to stay apart in the most part this time round. Il Radote is being ridden by Harry Cobden. Be interested to know what you guys think about that, taking Bryony off. I know the horse has been ridden prominent quite a few times, but has also been held up on occasions as well. I think this is the typical race where you do want to be from the front, though, so I suspect they do it again. I, for my sins, will be betting Hitman. I know he's definitely something wrong with him. He's definitely some sort of fruitcake, isn't he? But I just think he's Ryanair third last season. The fact that he's a couple of pounds down from that. I do quite like Freddie Gingle. I don't know whether he's actually fully worth the £5. I think he probably is, but you could take his mark all the way down to 151, and I think he's better than that. That running the Ryanair as well was his first spin round Cheltenham. He's been relatively lightly raced for the age that he is, but I'm making a bit of a case for a horse that I know is a dog. So that's as far as I got into the race, to be honest with you. I will be betting Hitman, but I will be watching this again, the same as the last race, more for clues after. I'll come to you first, Sean. Is there a good thing in here that I've overlooked?
No, I find out of all the races now, I find this the trickiest, to be honest with you. Il Radote, geez, I go broke if I try to back him. I can't get him right at all. He looks like he goes and runs a consistent one, and then he'll throw in a bad one, and I can't get that lad right at all. Fugitive looked done very well the last day, but he's up to 12 stone now. I don't know how much he can really have left under the bonnet, to be quite honest with you. The unexposed one now is the one I'll be looking at, is Excello, but this just might this might be used as an experience going forward to the festival. He's been running, he came over from France and he went to a hurdle, to my surprise, on the first run, but look, he looked to come on massively when he went over fences the next day. He got 8 pounds off solo and he jumped well and put him away. And going forward, I'd say you probably could look at him for a plate, but I just wonder on the hustle bustle of handicapping here, it might be an experience for him and he could learn a hell of a lot going forward towards the festival. So my eye would be on him without having a bet, to be honest.
Nice. Andrew, any different thoughts on there? Is there one that you do want to get stuck into?
There's one I actually quite like, is Victoriano, Venetia Williams' horse. He's only at having 3 runs for her. Look, he's after having 12 chase starts. So he's after having 10 in France, and he's having 2 in the UK, and he's 2 from 2 in the UK. I liked what he done on his first start when he's beaten 2 for gold, a very experienced horse, and Edward Allen was in behind him that day. Then he went on and he beat Man, Gavin Cromwell's horse, who we brought over to Ascot. I thought that was a good performance as well. I think he's still learning. He's still a 6-year-old, but he has had a bit of racing. Venetia Williams' horses are absolutely flying. He's kind of the unknown quantity in the UK kind of terms in the handicap system. He stays further than this, so I think the faster they go, look, if Il Radote in here, Harry's on him this time, I don't get why people are getting their knickers in the twist over Brian. You're not honest. Like, Harry Cobden's Paul Nicholls' #1 jockey, he gets to pick what horses he rides. So I don't see why this is getting so much press. It could happen to any jockey in the second stable jockey in UK and Ireland. Like, Freddie Gingle is on Hitman because he's getting the £5 claim off him. It's plain and simple. But yeah, Victoriano, I think he's a decent enough price, 13-2. I think he'll come on again for this, or come on and improve again in this race. And I think the faster they go, the better his chances, because he has a tendency his last 2 runs to kind of over race a bit. So I think if he settles around Cheltenham, I think you have a massive chance. And I think one that's overlooked as well is Jutal. He's on the back of 3 wins. He won the last time at Aintree, where there was about 6-7 fences out. But if you go, you can't really take the form literally, but you go look at the horses in behind him. There's some decent horses in behind him. You've Al Lancer, Tommy's Oscar. You've That's All Right. Gino was there. My Drogue or Hitman was in another parish, but look, that wasn't his true run. And obviously, he'd have a chance to see his 11th one now. He was a bit bigger yesterday, but there would be the 2 I play in that.
Nice. With Victorino, because obviously those 2 wins at Ascot did come at 3 miles, as you touched on. Pretty impressive, really. Like you said, maybe it was hard for the handicapper to get a handle on him. I know a few people that thought that after that first win, he was still good value for it. Do you think the step back in trip is in any way compensation for the fact the weight's going up a bit? Do you think it's a clue to a plan for later on, or do you reckon it's definitely 100% trying today?
I'd say he's trying. The fact that Charlie is on him, because Venetia rides easy as that in it as well. So I think he's well, obviously he's 13 to 2. He's going to be trying, you'd hope. He's carrying 11.4. Look, he's a big, massive horse. He's still growing into himself. I don't think he'll have any problem traveling with the pace because of the kind of keenness he showed over 3 miles. So I think he'll have no problem adapting. And look, as I said, Venetia Williams horses are still flying. I think he's a right chance. 13 to 2, I think is a decent enough price.
Nice. And then the last bit on me poking about Victorino, if for whatever reason gets beat, would you be willing to like forgive it for the run and then think maybe if it ran at Cheltenham and stepped back up in trip and maybe it's a prep run for something in the festival, would you be forgiving of it getting beat, or would you be fully expecting it to be bang there?
It'll depend on how he gets beat. If he's out the back and suddenly doesn't have the gears to go with him and then runs on at the finish, then yeah, you'd look at something else, the 3 miles, whether it be Cheltenham, whether it be Aintree. You'd definitely have a second look at him.
I like that. Thanks, mate. It's always good to hear it beforehand because I do it so many times with a horse. I'll bet it because I fancy it. I'll make any excuse if it gets beat to try and bet it again the next time. Whereas you are right to have an idea of how they get beat before to see what's going on going forward. Jamie, there's plenty of horses that we've bet in here before. There's plenty of horses we've talked about. You don't need to tell me off again for suggesting Hitman, but where's your pennies going?
Andrew's kind of stole my thunder a bit, and I didn't really fancy him. Because I actually fancy Easy as That, but I'll only base my bet in the race if I have a bet if Unexpected Party runs well, because he finished 3.5 lengths ahead of him in the Paddy Power. Now Easy as That thing went up to 3-2, which he obviously blatantly doesn't stay at the December meeting, I think. And then Easy as That, we were there at the Paddy Power. I thought he got it was a weird kind of a strange ride for a Venetia horse. He was miles out the back and he stayed on. He's got dropped 4 pounds there from 141 to 137. But what's put me off is obviously Charlie Deutsch's thing. But Victorino, 142 beat Man, wasn't it? Yeah, Gavin Cromwell horse. He only got 4 pound. But what's put me off Victorino is that I think 146 is his mark, and then I think they'll have a trot round here and then aim him at the Ultima. I don't know why I'm saying this, but the horse I really fancy each way hasn't won since Newbury last year. No, I couldn't tell you about form. I can't think of it. I didn't go through. Sorry, I'm only in the door from work. But I like because I think he needs to win here to get into handicap at Cheltenham. My only crib about him, he hasn't won over 2.5 miles. But I backed him in Musselburgh for Air Darm for Skelton. They were under a bit of a cloud that time, and they didn't have winners. Their horses were being pulled up, finishing out the back of the telly. Well, obviously it's Skelton out the back of the telly, but. I actually fancy him because he's 134 here, and I think he needs to win to get into handicap at Cheltenham. So maybe the handbrake will be off today, and I'm just going to take a stab in the dark. I just think there's something in this horse, and he was really well punted that day at Musselburgh, and Cherry Skelton pulled him up. So yeah, I'll go for Derm each way.
Nice. Well, we're obviously being really helpful to everybody out there, aren't we? By picking up 5 or 6 different horses in a handicap that's like this. But that is the nature of the beast, right? We can have some opinions. We'll have a few quid on a few of them, especially when these type of prices. But there are better betting opportunities. In the 150, the Cotswold Chase, this is one that I do think will divide opinions, mainly because it will divide opinions in who people think can actually even win the race. But I actually think it's priced up quite interestingly, to be honest with you. I don't believe that Stay Away Fade deserves to be favourite for this. But I know the form of the novice racing, right? The people will start latching onto Grey Dawn and doing bits, which was fine with the Ginny's Destiny run before, but the day at Exeter was not the same Grey Dawning we've seen since. The Changing Man would potentially be the easier yardstick. And then you look at what Grey Dawning did to him the other day, beat him 50 lengths. You just can't take that stuff literally. Now, I know everyone at the beginning of the season was just probably aroused about the thought of Giovinco being a Gold Cup horse of the future, but I wasn't buying into that horse at the start of the season, and putting up in the Feltham the way that he did was a bit disappointing. And it would maybe make you think that maybe it's a season too soon for him, or maybe he's just not reached the heights that people thought he was going to do. But again, I don't know if him being pushed by that horse at Sandown is very good form. This is an open grade 2 as well. We're not talking about a novice chase at Cheltenham. We're talking about Royal Pagaille that, yes, we know he's a Haydock specialist, but the races he wins round there tend to come earlier in the year. His Gold Cup runs aren't even that bad round it. To say that he doesn't particularly like the track, I think it's mad of anyone to think that. And he's £16 higher rated than Stay Away Faye. Like, I think that Royal Pagaille deserves to be where he is in the market. Stay Away Faye should be a bit bigger. The real whack is going to go out like the clappers as well at the front, and he's not going to give Stay Away Faye the type of run that he will need, like he did at Sandown, to be out in the front. He's going to get pestered. This is going to be a rude awakening, I think, for Stay Away Faye, coming up against some proper horses. Ahoy Signor's rest in peace, isn't he? He's just gone this season. And it makes me feel sad because I actually think Charlie Hall, he looked like he was travelling and jumping all right. I was watching him on the Betfair Exchange. He was 50 to 1 after they jumped 2 fences. Someone out there knows that this horse is just like properly wrong. And I know he got a revival in the race last year, but it's impossible, literally impossible. He could be 1,000 to 1. That's all right. Gino's got to prove that Hennessy run wasn't just a bit of a fluke. I don't believe he's achieved his rating, but where else would you possibly run him? Couldn't have him. Capodano, potentially you could. I feel like he'll be picking up the pieces. Paul Tanner's not over just for the... I know obviously he's here for Lossiemouth, but he's not over just to ride this one for the sake of it too. They wouldn't have just sent it as a travelling companion, but it's interestingly priced. Like, you couldn't really bet it at the price. So basically, I've gone a long way around the houses to say that I just think Stay Away Faye's going to get absolutely fucking stuffed. If it was Paul Nicholls' best novice and he was a Gold Cup horse, they wouldn't have had Nappers Hill as their Feltham horse. They wouldn't have used Hermes Allen as the second reserve. Stay Away Faye would have run in the Feltham if this was a Gold Cup horse. I'm not buying into the hype, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. So hands up if you're a Stay Away fan, so I can Stay Away Faye fan, so I can come to you first. Oh, Andrew. I mean, I know I've been quite harsh, right? Because he can only do what he can do, and these horses...
The British dish and the English horse and the Irish fella puts his hand up. Brilliant. That's comedy.
But I know I'm being harsh enough with Stay Away Faye, right? These horses have been there and done it. They've gone to the well many times. We know the substance of their form. Stay Away Faye's not really done much wrong. That Exeter run was decent considering he traded like 120 and running. Looks well beaten. I am probably being harsh. He's never going to be able to achieve a rating of 160 till he comes up against horses like this. But sell him to me. Tell me why you think, I know regardless of the other ones being a bit ropey at times, why do you think Stay Away Faye is going to win this?
The reason is I don't think they're going to go to the leader in this time. I think his best run will come when he gets something to aim at. I know he made a run over hurdles as well, but they've no choice but to make the run the last 2 runs. You're going to have the real whacker go out like the clappers in front, possibly a high senior. Royal Pagaille might want to be up the pace again. This could be a very fast run race, and all this fella does is stay. Royal Pagaille is not half the horse he is at Cheltenham. The real whacker, his trainer couldn't train a dog to bark at the moment. A high senior, God love him, I love him, but he's just gone at the game. As you said, that's all right, Gino. He needs to show that the Hennessy wasn't a fluke. Capodano is the one just lurking there going, you could come back and you could win this at a big enough price. But I think there's going to be enough pace in this race. There's so many question marks about the field. As I said, like Royal Pagaille, the real whacker, a high senior, that's all right, Gino. Then you've Capodano. Can he back up the run behind Galton and Champ, even though he was in a different parish and he was third? So I think logic to me says that Stay Away Faye will be dropped in behind the pace. And if he has something to aim going up that hill, I think he'll run it down. I wouldn't have him as favourite, as you said there, Dave. I'd have Royal Pagaille, obviously, would be worthy favourite. If this was a Haydock, he'd be near enough 6-4 favourite if this is a Haydock. But then you're taking into account his form around Cheltenham. And I think the hill will suit Stay Away Faye better than any other these horses. If he's in with a shout turning in and he's about 2-3 lengths off it, I think he'll run them all down. I know it's not a thing with novices to going in against horses like this, but it just goes to show the kind of level and question marks there is about the other horses in it. I think he has a right chance in it.
Yeah, fair enough. And I know I've been very dismissive of him. It's the price thing that kills me more than anything. The problem is though, if they made him like a 4 or 5 to 1 poke, you'd probably look at him and say, oh, he's the value in the race. You want to bet him. Like he's not incredibly short, is he? But Sean, you didn't put your hand up, so well done, Sean. Who wins this race? just a little line in on Stay Away Faye, because we're digging him out left, right, and centre. Anything positive to say about him before we dismiss him?
Look, I think looking now, I'd say Nichols is bold doing this now. This could make an absolute balls of this lad, because like he goes and has a grueler here before going into a Cheltenham festival and perhaps wins. He's had a very tough race. He goes and gets beaten. Sure, like where do you sit then? So I think it's a brave move by Nichols putting him in here, to be quite honest with you. I don't understand why he hasn't just kept him to novice company. Like he could have ran at Warwick last week, he 3-mile chase there that Greg Donnan won, and kept him in against the novices. I understand like it's probably a bolder move to put him in here, but I think it could be a bit silly if when we look back come Sunday or Monday, if the race has gone a certain way. I think it could look very silly. The reality about the rest of them is they're below Gold Cup level. Like that's what them horses are. They're simply not good enough up at the Grade 1 level. So as a result, you have them all in here in around similar prices. Like you probably have 4 points split in the field, 4 or 5 points split in the whole field. And look, you can pick holes at a lot of them. Royal Pagoy, I think, is a flat track bully. I don't think Cheltenham shows the same sort of form that he does at a Haydock or a Kempton in soft ground. The Real Whacker hasn't been the same horse as winning an RSA. And then you come down to a Hoist and your 2 pulls up. Like you'd want to be off your conkers to be back in this lad after 2 pulls up. And then you're down. I'm then left with the 2 rags in the field. And look, that's all right. Gino would be decided to come down on, just because I don't know what way to take Capitano, to be quite honest with you. But that's all right, Gino. The way this race is going to be run, I could see it being similar to the way the Hennessy was, to be quite honest with you. A very strong gallop. And Gavin Sheehan, look, if you looked on the first lap, you would have said this lad was beaten. Gavin Sheehan let him pop away, and he came through the field and delivered him, and he stayed all day. So I can see a strong gallop in here. He wouldn't be a strong selection, but I could just potentially see the race falling apart with 3 or 4 front runners, and I could just see him arriving there, and all of a sudden he's there at 2 out. So that's the sort of way I go. It's not a strong opinion, but that's all right, Gino.
Nice. It's a good puzzle to piece together, I think, Jamie. And I do, like I say, for all I'm saying, trying to take on Stay Away but Fair at the front of the market, maybe could be a little bit bigger, which I think we maybe possibly all agree on. It's not really any of these where you'd have a strong enough opinion that regardless of the price, you'd want to bet them, I don't think. But I do think the market's going to move a bit. Like a Hoy Senior's got to go off at 16s plus. Capo Dano's got to probably drift a little bit, but might get nibbled in. You didn't put your hand up, stay away, Faye. So very well done, you, Jamie. Another point for you. What do you think is going to win this race? Have you got a strong opinion?
I have a very strong opinion, yeah. And I'm with Sean. I think that's all right, Gino. It's an absolute good thing.
Fuck's sake. No wonder you got him.
Absolute good thing. And to be honest with you, Dave, exactly what Sean says, and I'm agreeing with it again. The Kerryman agreeing with a dove. That never happens every day. But anyway,
this is territory. You know, this is.
Be quiet, you on that note down below in fucking southeast fucking Waterford. Be quiet. You got rid of your best person. But anyway,
you stop. Cacaprina honest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, you're right there. That's. I think it's been the bottom two. It's been That's Right, Gino and Capitano. My point for Capitano, his best performance, if memory serves me well, was on good ground. I know it was going right-handed the punches down, and I think he'll jump better. Now, a little bit skeptical about his jumping, but because of the pace in the race. But I think he'll be better on better ground, and I think you'll see a different Capitano. But exactly what the lads, Sean said, and the lads said, the pace here is going to be massive. But Royal Pagoy won't go and go to soft, regardless if it's Cheltenham or a donkey derby around Crayford or something like that. But he's no chance. The Real Whacker doesn't look like he's the same horse, and look, the form, you could crib the form last year's RSA. Like, look at Braun today in the Tayestes. I know he was top weight, but come on, Jerry Calam is not going to win a Gold Cup. High Senior, obviously, Twiston Davis is going to stay behind Fox and say, look, jump over to the Guinness Village every time you jump in front of the straight line. You know what I mean? He kind of just jumps right. And Stay Away Faye, exactly, I agree with Sean. Like, what are they doing here? I think they should have ran last week at Warwick, or found maybe the Reynolds instead, and he would have won that, and he'd probably be one of the favourites. But he's taken a massive risk, but obviously he is the potential horse in the race, and he could be a Gold Cup horse next year, but I think it's too early. So because of the massive pace in the race and the way Sheehan rode Gino in the Hennessy, No, I know it was only off 148 and he's up £11 to 159. But I think obviously if they go slow, Gino has no chance. But if there's obvious pace in the race, he'll creep and he'll creep. He'll come there to second last, and I think he'll run away from him. I think he'll win. Gino, all day.
Nice. Well, we've had a few upsets in this race in the past. There's been some pretty good renewals of it. This one looks, I think, particularly good. Part of me, with all the stuff that I've said about Stay Away Faye, if someone said to me, what would your dream result be? It would be Stay Away Faye wins by 20. Because
You got him in the anti-post book by any chance?
No, I haven't, to be fair.
No, he was the bad porter.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, let's not talk about him. Allaho's gone as well. It's the worst day ever. But I think, like, in terms of the race for potential, right? Everyone knows it. Real Whacker ain't winning a Gold Cup. That's all right, Gino. As much as he's won his Hennessy's done all right. They're not like proper future Gold Cup horses. So the best result for me would be Stay Away Faye does go and prove his class. And then all of a sudden we're thinking, fuck me. That's why they gave him a Gold Cup entry. It'd be a nice question mark for him to have, wouldn't it? To think this horse is an absolute weapon. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what would be quite nice to see. For all us fans out there, and then Andrew would have picked up a couple of pound notes as well. Right, let's move on to the Clarence House Chase, the rearranged Clarence House Chase. It is, yes, disappointing that we won't see El Fabiolo versus John Bon. However, I'll tell you a massive reason why this will make the Champion Chase a million times better, because John Bon will get a bit more experience around Cheltenham. Yes, it's the wrong track. He started to jump left. Mark my words. If they'd have run him at Ascot, he'd have run down a few fences. He'd have jumped left. He'd have been nowhere fucking near El Fabiolo. And they'd say, that just wasn't his running today. It'll be fine when we get there in March. We would have learned nothing. And especially John Bon wouldn't learn anything. So the Lord above has prevailed by abandoning racing left, right and centre to give John Bon another crack round here. His slower chase run as well, right? At the beginning of the season, maybe it was like testing enough ground. That's why he slowed down towards the end. But when he picked up the pace down the back straight, I genuinely was thinking, fuck me, this is going to be like a 180s performance. But he did slow up a little bit towards the end of it. Sean, if you've done the time on it, you'd be able to speak that a little bit better than what I've just said with my eyes. But I think John Bon's definitely improved from his novice season. The jumping to the left's a tiny bit of a worry, but it never caused a problem in that slower chase. I think he bolts up in here. The one I am drawn to and need to give a mention to, though, is Nube Negra, right? I fancy him a little bit in the slower. He's been running on terrible ground. The quicker ground will help him a bit. Harry Skelton said after the race, didn't he, that he's never been round Cheltenham that fast on any horse when John Bon went that quick. It's not Nico on board, is it? John Bon has jumped a little bit to jump into the left. Maybe they'll steady him up. I don't think James Bowen's going to be as brave as Nico was down the back to send him on and go that quick. So it'll be interesting to see how he's ridden. But Nube Negra with John Joe O'Neill Jr., right? I can't figure out whether they're running him in here and they think he's got a proper chance, or they're running him in here because John Joe O'Neill Jr. managed to get a few pounds off
with this horse.
Use English lads get your knickers in a twist with this lad, and he's just fucking shy.
100%. He's shy.
He's Spanish mule.
What, Nube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, get him in a Grand Annual. But I'd be back.
Sure. The handbrake's going to be on again. Is it the handbrake going to be on again?
The handbrake might be.
Skelton will come out and he'll go, oh, he went too fast again, jump on.
Sure, and he sort of saw the description and he can't lift a leg.
Yeah, wait, no. Another £6, and then they'll put Tristan Durrell, so he'll be £11 lower the next day in the ground anyway.
Well, exactly. That's what I think could happen. But I think he's won the.
And then it'll piss rain on the Wednesday like it always does.
And his chance be gone.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see how he goes, because I believe that if he was truly running his proper races, he should be able to get close. He shouldn't be a 16th point, but he is what he is, right? John Bon will just waltz this one, and I do think he'll give El Fabiolo something to think about in March. Jamie, I'm going to come to you because I think the boys are ready to have a go at me. What do you think? It's a short price.
Wouldn't be like us Irish to have a go at you, Dev.
Is there any type of bet in there? Like, is there any way in your mind that John Bon gets beat, bar incident or injury?
Sit down and relax and watch this.
Happy days. Sean, I talked about the time stuff with John Bon.
Drink a few whiskeys. Sorry. Drink a few 7 brandies and then he'll win.
But I don't know if you did do it or you would know. But like there, I thought in the slower he went pretty quick early on. I thought it was a bit of a beastly performance. How have you pitched John Bon this season in comparison to an El Fabiolo?
Look, you might want to sit down, but I'd be throwing bricks at this lad now. There's not a hope in hell that he's turned the form El Fabiolo. Like, this is why the English get so hyped up, and then they get brought back down to earth in March. Because look, the reality is, what has he gone around the beating? He's beating Editor the G. Like, that's what he does. Like, they're the sort of horses that he's running around and beating. In her, look, James Bond is up for the first time. He's a passenger. He's going to have to do a hell of a lot wrong to get beaten here. Let's be honest about it. Sit on this lad's back and get him around, and that'll be it. In terms of the Clarence House, look, I was sick I wasn't on, to be honest. I thought El Fabiolo would have bashed him. And I genuinely, we were talking about on our podcast, there was a chance then that John Bond could have went for a Ryanair. And with the news that broke today, if he was beaten by El Fabiolo, I think there could have been a serious chance of him going to Ryanair. But look, it's not going to happen. He's going to get a penalty kick in here. El Fabiolo is going to race at the DRF next week in a 10 times harder race and still win. And they'll go to March and he'll just go and beat him again.
Fair enough. Right, Andrew, what's John Bond got to do to make you think he's got any chance of getting within a lick of El Fabiolo?
Like you say, the rain gods were and weather gods were favourable to us because we have all these races on. The rain gods were favourable to John Bond because he hasn't going to get his arse handed to him by El Fabiolo in this race. And there would be a near on very high percentage that if he got his arse handed to him by El Fabiolo, there's a lovely Ryanair that's sitting for him if he did. And thank our lucky stars that it didn't happen, because now if that happened, the champion chase would be shite. It'd be like a champion hurdle. So I'm glad that he's been rerouted to the DRF and John Bond's here. The only way that this horse gets beat here is if he falls off. If James Bond falls off, if he hits a fence, and if I hear somebody put up New by Negra for a race again in a Grade 1, I'm going to absolutely lose me fucking marbles.
That's it. That's our invite onto the Final Furlong podcast, anyway.
He'll be retired soon enough. I mean, I'm still I was anti John Bond to start just because of the whole Duvan Breeny thing. I said to people, they're going to get hyped over the wrong stuff and not look at him and treat him in the right respect. I do get the El Fabiolo type stuff, but
that's because yourself and Daryl Carter are absolutely obsessed with bloody John Bond. You had a piece on him ever.
To take him on.
You were creaming your pants about him.
No, because the same thing was happening then, wasn't it? It was unsubstantiated form that people were creaming.
And then the typical, what happens, Jamie? They get easy races in England, look like monsters, come to March, haven't learned the job, and get mullered.
I tell you another thing. He wouldn't even win a Ryanair because he won't fucking stay.
Agreed. He won't win a Ryanair. But I do think he's bridged a bit of a gap of El Fabiolo. I know El Fabiolo's improving as well, but we'll find out when we get to Cheltenham. Obviously, he got his arse handed to him in the Arkle. I think he learned a hell of a lot that day. That was the first time he was in a proper horse race over fences, I think. And although he hasn't necessarily been in one this season, yeah, he'll probably get his arse handed to him again. But I believe there's a chance to do it again. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I seem to be quite harsh or quite keen to be proven wrong. I think this week it's probably going to happen, isn't it? Right.
I took on El Fabiolo last year with John Bond. So I'm not saying it from the whole Irish angle point of view. I literally saw El Fabiolo beat him at Cheltenham. I went, he's never beaten him.
Yeah, so I get that. But
he's a very, very good horse, John Bond. But El Fabiolo is just better. And he has so much to improve on. His jumping can improve. And if his jumping improves, there's more lengths.
But do you think, lads, that he needs El Fabiolo? Do you think he needs Gentleman to Me and Dysart Dynamo in a race so they'll go quick enough so he'll just pick up the pieces? Do you know what I'm trying to say, Joe?
I know what you're saying. In terms of strong gallop, we've seen the last day of Cork when he didn't get a strong gallop, but I can guarantee you one of them will be in there on the champion chase
100%.
Yeah, so
it'll be more Dysart than Gentleman to Me to upset John Bond. Like, that's obviously going to
happen. And that's the thing. Like, you have them taking on each other. Like there's no doubt they'll go a million, and I think it just makes them better.
What could happen as well? Like, Nicky could go and say, right, we're going to make the run this year. Because you have to make the running already, and he's well able to go at a pace. If you can't beat him, follow him, try beat him in front of him.
100%, and that's what will definitely happen in my eyes, because it's the Alty or Min thing again. Nico just wouldn't let Ruby be in front of him at any point when they lined up in any of those races, because obviously it's one of those. I know it's a very obvious thing to say, but you've got to be in front of a horse to beat a horse. And those types of horses, like an Altior, when Ruby was riding Min behind, you're never going to get past him. You need to be in front of him. That's what Surname did at Ascot. You have to get in front of those horses, and they're smart enough to know with John Bond that they are the underdog going into it. I reckon they'll go on, but I'm a tiny bit worried about him being pestered at the front. But anywho, the international hurdle, we've got no Constitution Hill. So it's a lackluster affair. We've got Lossiemouth in it. We've got Lossiemouth. To be fair, I think this is her trip. She should go and win this, right? I can't believe there's people. I know Rabaud he's looks like a nice horse, but I can't believe, again, from a price perspective, he's as short as he is, and people quite like him. He's 149 rated. If this was a handicap race and he was getting the right sort of ratings, he would be like stones difference with Lossiemouth. And that's not the case. Maybe he could be like a county horse. I don't like the fact that he's so ground dependent either. So I think he's a bad price. Lossiemouth's just not big enough for me to think I want to have a bet on her. And obviously, we are trusting a juvenile stepping out. We've seen plenty over the years that have faltered a little bit. I am wildly going for a swing to tee you all up to have a go at me if you want. I can't believe Guard Your Dreams is 33-1. I know he's been off for ages, right?
Holy fuck.
He won the race 2 years ago. It wasn't run again last year. He should not be 33-1.
Ring Daryl. I'm going to ring Daryl Carter there and tell him to come on and just get rid of him for fuck's sake.
He's wildly the wrong price.
He's around for a track for a fucking Carl Cup or County Hurdle.
In fairness, though,
Twister doesn't send him round for a run.
Wasn't he favoured for the Carl Cup in COVID? I'm almost certain he was.
I'll tell you now.
Yeah, he's been out for 2 years. He's
I'm just first, second, or third favourite anyway, Andrew, because that was the year that Richie Conn.
Yeah, 7 the one that Heaven Help Us won. Yeah,
but first street's a bag of crap. Rebode is not his rating. He should not be 9-2. And Love Envoy, they've already said they're leaving plenty to work on going into the Mare's Hurdle, and she wants a bigger trip. Lossie will go. The only horse that will be anywhere near would be Guard Your Dreams. And yes, Lossiemouth might go clear. He should not be a 33-1 poke. Twice as well after significant layoffs, right? 195 days, 205. He's won both times. I know it's a bit like clutchy because obviously he's had some sort of issue.
This is 660 now. This is nearly triple them amount of days.
No, I know. And he's obviously had some sort of setback, but the conditions and the weights and bits that you get in there, like, I don't know. He's stupidly the wrong price. He could easily be a 12-1 poke and people would bat him to the same side. I think he's a big price. I reckon he could run well. He's 33, and I don't need to sell too much of a case. Right. I've wound everyone up again. Andrew, you look the most furious with me. Lossiemouth, right? How much would you be piling into Lossiemouth then?
I still can't believe you just said Guard Your Dreams. Wow, yeah. Anyway, this did happen. Lossiemouth, yeah, look, there is the obvious 4-year-old going to a 5-year-old season worry going in there, but look, as you said, Ruband, he's just a horse. He's nothing great, nothing special about him. I know he got beat by Constitution Hill. Oh, he's been beaten. God only knows it's not great at all. Love Envoy, all depends on what side of the bed this thing gets out of. And you couldn't really back her with any confidence on the back of getting beat by Not So Sleepy in conditions that would be right up our street. First Street just hates winning. And Guard Your Dreams, I haven't even looked. I didn't even know he was in the race until you mentioned him. So that for process elimination, that means Lossiemouth should win. I like the fact that they've given her enough time to get over last season, and she's kind of getting not exactly Covega treatment, but the thing I like with this kind of juvenile going, the normal juvenile hurdle winner has no choice but to be campaigned out of champion hurdle route. This is nowhere near a champion hurdle route. She's getting weight of muchness horses. I know she has to give 2 pounds to Love Envoy, but the rest of them are absolutely not great whatsoever. And I think she'd take a lot of beating. Willie's not going to send her over here if she isn't ready to win. It's not going to be a gallop to find out what we have. It's going to be, we're going over here to win. We're going to set a benchmark, and we're going to go to Cheltenham. Cheltenham's Cheltenham Festival. The festival now is a different story. It's an extra trip and whatnot. People have a reservation about will she stay. I think we'll find out a lot how she'd hit the line now this on Saturday. But I think she'd be very, very hard to beat. I think the rest of them are just horses. And I say, as you said there, I think Love Envoy will be peaked for the Mare's Hurdle. So whatever happens here, I think it'll be a lot closer between the two of them come March.
Yep, fair enough. He sent Mellon over, didn't he? I know Mellon's a different beast, but they don't, just because Willie sent one over doesn't mean it's going to go and win, does it? Just before I come to you, Sean, obviously, Guard Your Dreams is a wild one, right? Bet365 are doing betting without. Without Lossiemouth, it's 16-1 Guard Your Dreams. Without Lossiemouth and Love Envoy, Guard Your Dreams is 7-1. Do
they do Lossiemouth and each way 4 places by any chance?
Without Lossiemouth,
he's mad.
First Street.
Go on then. So are you much of the same as Andrew then? Just Lossiemouth, just a beast. You're just going to win it?
No. I could have serious egg on my face here, to be honest with you. I'd be a liar now at them prices. at 4-5, 4-5, 4-6 prices. Look, it's the whole thing of this juvenile coming in 4-5. Now it's also I'm talking about going forward. This 4-5-year-old campaign. Look, they all look dynamite winning the Triumph, but many of them go on to follow through. And as I went and had a look for yesterday, I went and had a look back since 2002 when this race was ran, and only one horse managed to follow up at the following Cheltenham Festival, and that was Catch in the Champion Hurdle. So there's only one horse to do it in 24 attempts. That's not a stat that you want in favour if you're a big fan of Lossiemouth. In terms of this race right here, I like to have two horses when I'm going to lay a horse, and I think the weaker of the two will be Robot, but you know what level he's going to run to. He's going to run to a solid 150, low 150 marks, and he's going to be a benchmark. Then you have Love Envoy, who's the one I think that can get her beaten. Look, Love Envoy is £4 better rated than her. Lossiemouth is to give her £2. So that takes a £6 of improvement. Now, Lossiemouth on first run is going to have to improve to get to them levels, and that's simply how it is. And I don't know if that she's quite at that level. Love Envoy, look, she had an injury at Punchestown, and the Sandown run, I'm hoping, I'm willing to forgive first run, will put her right, but she's shown very good form around this track, especially when winning the Mares Novices Hurdle. Then she ran second to Honeysuckle on the Mares Hurdle. So this is definitely no penalty kick, as the prices suggest, at 4-5. And I think if Lossiemouth has to improve on this first run, she's got to be cherry ripe and probably find a pound or two of improvement to be right there. So I think you're asking a lot in terms of the juvenile as well on top. I'd be happy to lay our first time out and find out what we've got. If she goes and beats these, well then fair enough, she justifies her place at the top of the market. But does the Cheltenham Festival market at the moment 5-2 on the other, and you have Ashrow Diamond or 8-1, there's just too much of a difference in there for me. And I think this is your chance to take her on and find out what she is.
Nice. Jamie, I'll just touch on the fact that Constitution Hill isn't running here again, right? No one's mentioned a word of it. Lossiemouth would not be coming here if Constitution Hill was racing. They don't want to run a race to get a beat. This is a soft as shit grade 2. We know that's the state of the hurdling division. You like Lossiemouth, right? I think you're in the same vein as me. We're not so sure that she's definitely going to stay. What do you see as there as like a prospect in here? Because arguably, if we're saying we don't think she's going to stay, but she's a nice one, she should be the good thing in here, shouldn't she?
No, I'm in Sean's camp here again. Yeah, 100%. Like exactly what Sean said, she's £4 behind Love Envoy. I have to give her £2. The only crib I have at Love Envoy is that I know she was second to Honeysuckle right in the race, but I don't know. Am I believing that she's better on softer, heavier ground? I don't know. I think like she's been around the track. They both have. It's the same tracks as Triumph and the Mares Novice. But I think you'd be mad to try at that price, innit? Like she probably a bet when she was coming down towards 6-4, 5-4 last time up. Fair enough, but a juvenile coming in and then it's gonna be first time out in like I know it's like substandard international hurdle. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I'd be with Sean here. I think Love Envoy will win, yeah, and then on to the Mares Hurdle because I think she's well overpriced for a Mares Hurdle. Even though I fancy what Sean says, I've backed Ashrow Diamond all year for it, but. Yeah, I would like. I'm the same with Sean. My egg on my face, and I'd say I'd probably be told afterwards that I know nothing. But I'd be going.
Yeah, but look, I think as you said there, it's a time to take her on. We're all the unknowns. First run. Yeah,
and I'd have severe doubts that she stays at 2.5 miles in the Mares Hurdle. Severe doubts, and I think should be in the Champion Hurdle. Like, look at it this way: if there was exactly what you're saying, Dave. I'm only quoting you in a nice way. If there was no Constitution Hill, Lossiemouth would be in the Champion Hurdle. Simple as. And I think she'd have a right chance in a Champion Hurdle if she improved. And a horse, give her £7 with Statement in Pair A pass, we give her £7. It's going to be pretty good now. She improves the way she did last season.
I think she'll be all right in here. So the moral of the story is we've got very different opinions on this one. I do think Lossiemouth will probably still go and win the race, but I just Guard Your Dreams is massively the wrong price. Just for the pure fact the other three aren't good. Rabaud's a flat track bully, and Love Envoy, they've already said they've left loads to work on for Cheltenham. So regardless of the weights and that sort of stuff, she's not going to run any sort of number in this. Again,
give up the drink, like.
No, but they've
I think I've come to a point in life now where I heard someone put up a case for Nougat Negra and the same lad put up a case for Guard Your Dream is a bit hard now to take.
We'll see about it Saturday, won't we? When we see what the results are. Guard Your Dream will not be last.
Tom Ray never says again. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Savages. Well, we'll see. There'll be plenty of egg on the face if any of these little bad boys come in. But it's one of them, isn't it? We'll see how the results go. But it's madness. Madness, probably more so from me. Right, Cleve Hurdle. You're gonna get probably even worse for this one. I feel like I should probably go last, but I like to see. I think I like the fact of setting stuff up right. This is madness, right? The
Oh,
Stayers
don't say.
division.
I know who he's going to say. Oh, please say that you're not going to say it.
I
Please
think
say
you
he's not
might-
going to
you
say it.
might. Right, so the Stayers Hurdle division.
Yes, it is. I knew it would be.
It's been frowned upon. It's been looked down on. Everyone seems to hate the Stayers Hurdle division. I love it. It makes me a little bit sad at the moment, though, that we have got 11 and 12-year-olds scrapping about, vying for favouritism. And it offends me a little bit just purely for the fact that history shows us that horses, when they get to a veterans type age, are not running their best, right? I know they're still potentially putting out figures out there that look like they're quite good. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it's as good as it looks. And it makes me sad that while they keep kicking about of each other, horses like Cramber, who's a handicapper, will all of a sudden look like a worldie. It's mad. It's like if any non-league football player played with a granddad Messi, they would look like they're half decent. But they're not playing against Messi, are they? They're playing against a granddad. This race, right, is clutchy very much. I mean, you've seen the theme of the show with me, full stop anyway. Ollie Murphy, right? I do give him plenty of abuse for the fact that he's ruined many a horse and he's burnt a massive hole in his dad's bank account, right? He's clutching a bit here, but I think he might have got a little bit lucky with this one. Strong Leader has always been a stayer in my eyes. It's related in the damn sides to Strong Flow. Paul Nicholls' horse won a Feltham, was sent off 5-1 in the Gold Cup that Kicking King won. Strong Leader needs this trip, right? He's just been getting outpaced against better horses. He also needs better ground. So, as much as they turned around quite quickly after that real kill where he was nowhere to be seen, Bob Ollinger was bang on form that day. It wasn't his trip. There is no horse like a Bob Ollinger in it. Strong Leader's now got cheek pieces on, which is why I will say that I think Ollie Murphy's just clutching. He's thinking, fuck it. Run him over 3 miles, shove some headgear on, something might work and he'll win a race. He's not doing it because he thinks the horse needs his cheek pieces as far as I'm concerned. Or he might be actually. He might think he needs him. He doesn't. I just think Strong Leader will be able to travel better in this race, going a bit of a slower pace, because they will go slow. They'll be on their Zimmer frames, won't they? He's a 10-1 poke. If the 3 miles is what he needs, which I believe it has been the whole entire time, I think in these conditions, Strong Leader will be there or thereabouts. So that's basically me. I do see there's money coming for Noble Yates. You can see it, can't you? Because of what he's can physically capably run, and he is only the 9-year-old in there, getting a bit of weight from people as well. He's not really a hurdler. You can forget the race that he ran over Christmas because it was over the wrong trip completely, wasn't it? But a sad state of affairs if Noble Yates goes and wins this. He could, but Strong Leader's the one that I think is actually tailor-made for this particular race. So I'm fairly strong on Strong Leader. Sean, you can't stop laughing, mate. I've had to mute you at one point in there. Go on. There's no Irish horses running in here, so who's going to win?
I just hope for some reason a storm hits where you are on Saturday and the electricity cuts out and you can't gamble and you can't watch the telly, and hopefully that'll be the best thing that can happen for you on Saturday day with these 3 selections that I've listened to. But look, when we covered this, I was being a colossal price crash in here. Look, I'm gonna glow a little bit here now, but after time and at its finest, I managed to collect Noble Yates when he was 12 and 10-1, but he's now down to 3-1, and I'm gonna put up the case for him, but I think I wouldn't be rushing in at 3-1 now. To be quite honest with you, I'd say the price will come back out. But just what it was is, look, he's shown form, and I like. Emmett Mullins can target a race. He's not a trainer that everyone takes it, but I like it when he can get it right, and I tend to find ones more times that get right than wrong, and I think that's why I like him. But look, this lad has shown good form over fences. He beat Dashel Drashel last year, ancient in a grade 2. He then went to the Cotswold, where typical of Noble Yates comes home like a train, gets outpaced, and personally I believe the drop back the hurdles might help him, because when he gets going, fences nearly get in his way and break his momentum and stop him. But as you've seen last year in the Cotswold, charged up the hill and came toward. He then ran in the Gold Cup and came fourth, classic again, outpaced, comes home late and strong. He's gone to a national off 11 stone, 11 pounds, and ran fourth. Look, it's good form. He's rated 166. He drops back in here against a bunch of OAPs and a bunch of 150 horses at best, is what I'd say. You have Paisley Park, your Dashel Drashers, your Champs. Like, they're not great anymore, wherever they were a couple of years ago. They're mid-150s horses, so this lad can perform 10 pounds under his chase mark and still be competitive in here. As you've seen, he went to Limerick the last day, 2.5 miles, not him, going around at a jog, and simply got out-sprinted by Sam Majest, who's a far quicker horse than he was ever going to be. And how the race set up, he was never going to be able to beat him. But as you've seen, back over hurdles, a prep race, and this is what it was in mine. They come here to the Cleve hurdle. I think the new track is going to be perfect. He'd nearly be like an old Paisley Park, is what I'd be saying. One that's off the bridle from far out and coming home like a train. You will not want to see, if you're out in front, you will not want to see him chasing you down come to the last, because he's going to go up that hill like a train. And I think Noble Yates would have a great chance in here. Now, as I touched on, the price has collapsed a little bit. I can see why. But I could see a little drift on the day, and you might go back out to 4 or 5 to 1. But I think he can perform 10 pounds below his chase mark and still be relatively really unexposed in the hurdle division. Like, he's had his third or fourth run only now. And if he was to go and win this, where does he sit himself in the Stayers hurdle market? He's blown wide open.
I mean, I do get it, because I've mentioned as well. Like, I can see him being a potential winner of the race. I've got it between the two of them, but it's still mad. It's a Grand National winner, isn't he? You can't say fences get in the way of him.
I just think when he get the revs going, he's coming on so well that 2 hurdles in the last 7 furlongs is going to suit a hell of a lot more than it will be when he gets rattling and needs to jump 2 fences down that straight.
Yeah, true. I do get it, but like you've even touched on it yourself, innit? It was the attractive prices before. You've even advised it yourself there. Like, he's potentially like short enough-ish. I'm definitely just anti all the old people in this particular race. So I am.
That's the exact route. That's the exact route I started off, and then I couldn't believe the price that you could find the ladder.
Yeah. So I'm semi on the same side. I did the GG preview earlier and said that I'd bet a little bit on Noble Yates.
And look, they have to give him £6 as well to throw on top of that. And look, if it's ever waited for him to run a big race, it's here on Saturday.
100%. It's a killer when it gets to the price stuff, doesn't it? Because I know everyone will talk about the argument of value and that type of stuff, but how differently you could look at a race when it's priced up at 10s and 12s. Even when I looked at it this morning, he was an 11 to 2 poke. When they start to shorten up too much, I know a winner's still a winner in people's eyes, but sometimes you have to just let them go, don't you? Andrew, did you get in some of the 10s and 12s? Bit of after timing?
No, thank God, no.
They call me mad.
No. You see this with every horse that runs on God's green earth. There's a tiny bit of money, and all of a sudden there's an avalanche of money. It happened today at Goran. Somehow, I would never understand how a horse that could barely raise a gallop for another trainer went off odds on in
4 to 6 today, yeah.
In Goran Park. It baffles the life out of me. And look, Noble Yates is a chaser. He's a chaser. He's not a hurdler. He's had 2 runs over hurdles. He won a maiden hurdle, and he got his arse handed to him by a yak. And now all of a sudden he's going to win a grade 1. Yes, fair, or grade 2. Fair enough, there are older horses, but Paisley Park is still running to a high enough mark. He's still showing his ability. He's at the win this race 3 years in a row. This is 100% not a race you get stuck into whatsoever, because you could run this 10 times and they could all beat each other 10 times. Bar strong leader. What the hell are you thinking about? That thing can't jump. Did you see me on Cheltenham the other day?
That's the thing. They're going too quick from that. Was in bad ground as well, wasn't it? You go and watch a few of his races before, like when he's run against like slower horses, which ideally we do know these are like potential like grade 1 horses, even if they're seniors. When he goes a little bit of a slower gallop, he does jump quite nice. And that run at Aintree as well, like he wasn't really in it. He was being scrubbed along, and he still managed to get within a length and 3/4 of in the pocket at 2 miles. I am telling you, for the life of me, this is a 3-miler all day long. Always has been. And if he was in any other yard than Ollie Murphy's, he would have run in the Ballymore or the Albert Bartlett. He would not have been running in a fucking Supreme. Excuse my language. Ollie Murphy's an idiot.
If he was coming on the back of the Aintree run, yes, you can see the point, because he ran on like a train. But on what he's shown this season, you couldn't touch him with a bar spool.
Yeah, the cheap pieces are on, so it'll be fine. But no, I do get that. I'm clutching a little bit, but I've always wanted to see him at 3 miles, so I'm happy enough.
Yeah, look, if he goes off and win, hats off to you, fair enough. Look, it's a horse where you can make a case for a majority of the field. Paisley Park, if he runs to his last 2 runs, he'd have a massive chance. Dasher when he get back to his form where he beat Paisley Park. Noble Yates, I just don't see it. I see him as a chaser. I liked him last season. Thought he would improve again as a chaser and not win a Gold Cup, but run really, really well in one. I don't know. I don't like Emmett Mounds as a trainer whatsoever. Champa, he's had to have more injuries than myself. I think his days are well gone. Both Dex Haas could won a decent race, but I think when it comes down to it, I think this is Paisley Park time of year, Paisley Park race. I think he's 11-4, 3-1. Would I back it? Probably not. But will I sit back and cheer him on? Yeah, probably will.
Yeah, that's a fair surmise of it as well. And I think you've touched on it. You could run it a few times. You might get some different results. And obviously, Sean's touched on the fact with the price of Noble Yates, as much as he said the case for him, there does always come a price point of everything. Jamie, we've talked about everyone but Flight Deck in here. Don't need to talk about Flight Deck. Who wins this one?
I'll be short and sweet. Sean Dunn is after stealing my thunder. I'm with him, but would I have a bet now on him? Oh God, no. Maybe if he drifted to 5-6-1, I might have go in with him. I'm just stupid. I missed a 10-12-1 about him. Totally echo what Sean says. Is like, this is a veteran's hurdle and he's getting weight. I know he's a better chaser, but yeah, a couple of mates of mine were at Limerick and they couldn't believe he's priced at Limerick, and they all backed Same Majestic, but they went an absolute crawl in bog ground. And it wasn't his bag. 2.5 miles is not going to be his bag. I see your case for strong leader a small bit, and he is better on better ground, but you're taking an awful risk with him. And obviously, we're taking an awful risk with Nobody Yates. I see what Andrew's saying, because I've backed Crambo 25-1 for a stairs hurdle. I don't know why he did that, but look, I'm taking a stab in the dark.
Picking English horses, Jesus, that's not a good start at all.
That's not a good start. Well, Jody, look, it nearly broke my heart yesterday with the French yak going. And then I have only two in the book, Crambo and Irish Point. I don't mind Tupu, Dave, who's creaming in his pants about bloody Tupu. Imagine now tomorrow was the stairs hurdle, good to soft Tupu. He'd be last. But anyway, so look, it's poor. It's a poor race, but I'm with Sean all day here. I think Nobody else will win, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, it's still a good spectacle. It is still some good racing. I definitely feel like this is the theme, right? Cheltenham Trials Day is a decent card, but there will definitely be better betting opportunities across other races. We'll move on to the last race, though. This is, I mean, again, I've got the wrong crowd on here, haven't I? Maybe I need some help from the participants in the chat. This is one of my favourite novice hurdles in Britain. I genuinely think it arguably is the best. Very rarely do we get the Irish coming over, but in the past, we've had Bobsworth's won it, wins an Albert Bartlett. At Fisher's Cross beat the new one. They won the Albert Bartlett and Ballymore, respectively. Santini beat something. Blackhop, I think. Blackhop ran well in a Ballymore. Santini ran like an absolute boat in that Albert Bartlett, didn't he? But they are good form lines, right? And
do you want us to start? Do you want me to start this off on the right note on how you should play this race?
I mean, you can.
Because
I was just going to say, right.
If the next words out of your mouth are not Gidley Park, there's going to be issues here now.
Oh no! Well, this is where I think we'll be all right on this one. So it's a race where like you don't, not necessarily the horse that gets beat is the end of the day from, right. So we'll have to see what happens in there. Johnny, who they've already said is probably like a Bartlett type. He's like 130s. Maybe get him in a pipe or something. But I do see it between the two of them. I would probably have it priced up, right? I had a message from a mate earlier. It was Daryl. He said to me, have you seen the price difference between Gidley Park and Johnny Who? He said, how would you price it up? I said, I haven't seen the rest of the entries. So I quickly had a look about the prices going up. I said to him, I can't be asked to go through the whole field, but if I was doing them two with a bit of a price for everyone else, I'd go 6-4 Gidley and I'd go maybe 5-2, 3-1 Johnny Who. So I think Johnny Who's like the proper scummy, dirty, muggy each way bet in the race, isn't he? Because he ain't going to have loads in front of him. Whether I'll have that bet or not, I don't know. I probably would. That is probably a bit of me, to be honest with you, having a nice good go on him each way in there. But I do think Gidley Park looks like the Ballymore winner, which is a bit mad to say considering it's a British horse, but he does look well above average. We'll have to see what he goes and does here, because this race, as much as it's produced some really good winners at Cheltenham, the winner of the race has never won the Ballymore. So we've seen like more clues towards an Albert Bartlett, and we did have the new one beat. So it could happen. Johnny Who, for whatever reason, just nudges him out by a nose, but Gidley Park still goes him into the Ballymore. I wouldn't want to be betting him at the price he is. I think he's about where he should be. So that's where I'm sat of it. I do think it potentially looks like an okay race in like the horses behind, but you'd be horrified if any of those got close to a Gidley Park. And then Johnny Who, with the way that he raced in that shallow, he could, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely got an engine. He looks like quite a nice horse, but you'd also be disappointed if he beat Gidley Park. But he's the only one that could do it. So anyway, Sean, I'll come to you then. Anything you like in here?
Yeah, this is an absolute GSI job now for me. Gidley Park, look, I think he's He's head and shoulders above them British 2.5 mile hurdlers, in my opinion. Look, he probably didn't go the classic route of what you want to see going down the Cello, but he came out and made an hurdle over 2 miles and won by 7.5 lengths. Workman-like, and for some reason people don't like that. They want him to win 15 lengths on a bridle. So he's gone to Newbury then, over 2.5 miles, stepped up for the first time. And this lad looked a proper machine now. He's put it together. He was a bit sloppy early on when they were walking around, but when this race hotted up, his jumping got a hell of a lot better. And what I seen from the last of the line was wickedly impressive, in my opinion. The second Fireflyer, he's given him £6, and he'd be a shoe-in the novice hurdle wherever he turns up next. I just think that race at Newbury, good Jesus, I think the four of us lads would have ran that last 100 yards quicker than Captain Teague did in that race. I think that's going to take a hell of a lot out of him. Look, you're bouncing back here 4 weeks later, and I don't think he has anywhere near the speed that Gidley Park has, and Gidley Park could sit on his tail. Johnny Hugh could have to do the donkey walk here, and he'll just say good luck to him going down to the last, because he'll have too much pace. He'd be too fast for him, and I would be dead shocked if Gidley Park does not win this race. I think he's the English #1, and he'd be rocking into the Ballymore flying the English flag and hoping to win him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And from a pricey perspective, 5 to 4, would that be something you would look at and think actually he should be shorter than
that? Personally, I think he could go off short. I think he could go off a shades of odds on. To be honest with you, I think they could get rightly stuck into this lad.
Yeah, fair enough.
I do see the angle there you said with Johnny Hugh. The Johnny Hugh thing would just be more towards that Cello. Like, that was an absolute gruel of a race they had in there, and I'd be very worried about him bouncing back here now.
Yeah, that is the big question mark. And then you're taking a risk for potentially just the scummy each way bit, and you're worried about the win part. And obviously, if he's not capable of winning because he's going to bomb, then if he's going to bomb, he's going to bomb proper, isn't he? Andrew, Gidley Park, one of the best British novices we've got, right?
He's probably about the only good novice you have. In all seriousness, I really like him. I was kind of hit and miss on his first run, but as Sean said there, when he stepped him up on Trip and Newbury, it was very, very good. He went around like a tank. His jumping warmed up as he went along, and he won as he liked. I think he'll win here. I think 5 to 4 is fair enough price. We were looking at it last night, and he was shades of odds on, so we didn't think Johnny Hoo was going to run here. We thought he would go to Doncaster. As Sean touched on there, that shallow hurdle, if you come out of that and you run a decent race, Christ above, you're made out of granite, because that was, I don't want to say hard to watch. It was hard to watch the last furlong because they were absolutely out on their feet, crawling on bottomless ground. These are young horses. They're 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. And it's hard to leave a mark on some of them. But if Johnny Hoo comes here and runs a massive, massive race, he's made out of stern stuff. But I think the trip, again, I don't think it's a trip. What he showed in the Cello is that his best work was at the finish and step him up and trip. I'm surprised from seeing him here. I thought he would go straight to Cheltenham, the Cheltenham Festival after his Cello hurdle run, give him all the time in the world to get over that. But look, this is Stateman Dance, this is GSI, this is everything you want in Gidley Park. To me, he's miles above anything else in it. You have Johnny Hoo, who obviously you have question marks. You have Isaac DeZobo, who's after having every run of his career bar one at Chepstow, and one time he came to Cheltenham, he got absolutely hockeyed. You have Lord of Thunder, you have Antrim Coast, who got beat by a substandard horse when he came over to Cheltenham last time. Then as much and muchness, I don't think the 5-4 is going to last long. I think if you fancy him, I'd back him now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Jamie, how about you? You like Gidley Park. You said that to me from a while back, I think. How are you seeing this race?
Just echo exactly what the lad said, short and sweet. If I lose all day, I get paid on Friday. I'll probably lose all my money if I get stuck in big time for this Gidley Park. If he loses, I'm in the shit big time. I think 5 to 4 is huge. He's just, I saw a picture of him today. He's a massive, he'd be some chaser. And yes, I agree with the lads. He's just going to fly the British flag when it comes to Cheltenham, because to be honest with you, bar Jericho to weeping, that's all you have, like, do you know what I mean? And I'm not being smart, but that's just facts are facts. And yeah, he's by far the best British novice. The way he came up the straight at Newbury, I don't know, what did you say? Blow your breath away, whatever crack we want to synopsisize a bit. But no, I think he'll just win, and I think he'll win well. Johnny Hoo, like, I know it's a grueling race, like, but would you be backing Captain T for an Albert Barrett? No. Look Away is a handicapper, and Johnny Hoo needs 3 miles. So maybe he's better on good to soft ground, you never know. But it was bog ground today. He came up the Carlisle Hill. So maybe I think he'd be run off his feet here. I agree with Andrew says. Isaac Jadobo was absolutely hockey when he came to Cheltenham. He's a chip stove, maybe a specialist, and I think he's a big, huge horse. He needs softer ground. So like this is the one, and if he doesn't win, the British have nothing in the Ballymore. As simple as that.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess it's always with that, and we can fancy something. Sometimes we fancy it regardless of the price, don't we? But it sounds like you boys still think that the 5 to 4 is okay. Fair enough. I do think we're all in agreement in that race. So Gidley Park is the most likely winner. Why did we do an hour and 20-minute preview to say that a 5 to 4 favourite was the most likely winner? At least we had some juicy stuff earlier on. Right. I'm conscious that I've taken up quite a chunk of you guys' time anyway. Is there any race from anywhere else you want to look at, talk about, or do you want to just get off? Because it's fine if you do.
No, look, I think there's a good race there at Doncaster, and it's not the Jericho, the Weapon A race. It's the I think the Ashrow Diamond Gallimar. So look, that's a good card at Doncaster. You also have the 3-mile novice hurdle. I think the 2-mile race is going to be very interesting, to be honest with you. The Ashrow Diamond Gallimar. So they're the same price of the market. If you ask me now, honestly, I think Ashrow Diamond should be shorter than Gallimar. So in the anti-post for the Cheltenham Festival, I think she's proven a lot more than that. At the juvenile form hasn't really been tested. And as we touched on with Lossy Milk, it's this 4 going into 5-year-old campaign that it'd have to worry you. Ashrow Diamond has shown the form at novice level, running the big races, came back, had her prep race, and here she goes again. And I think she deserves a spot at the top of the market. The way it's priced now, I think that's 13 day, 15 day. I'd say that's probably a route right, to be honest with you. And I'd say the two of them could be clear of the rest.
Patrick out the back of the telly, Walsh. I mean, running. Sorry, 143.
See, she tried. This is the one where she tries. That's your mistake. It's out the back of the telly when you're teaching her. For in against her own sex when she's unbeaten, that's when she's trying.
Oh, I mean, 143. Surely she could be a bike horse. Under control in that race. So I think semi-interesting because she just ran absolutely dog shit the last day so badly that you'd expect that there must have been something amiss. But coming out 56 days later wouldn't suggest that. And then they've just conveniently tinkered with the wind. 137 she is. She screams a bit like a Dame de Compagnie, didn't she? Where they're maybe touting her for something for Cheltenham. So after Chantry House qualified with the Patumps, it could be some interesting JP horses on the Saturday. The anything for the mare's race that you two want to touch upon? Jamie, I know you said that all along the season that you like Ashray Diamond for the mare's hurdle. Does it worry you that this isn't 2.5 miles?
No, I think Patrick might just buck out in front, maybe, and just say, look, she stays more. She's a bit keen in the races. I was disappointed actually that You Wear It Well's not in the race for a bit of pace. I think she'd love that. But exactly what Sean says, against her own sex, she's unbeaten. She's definitely like what she's a 7-year-old. Like, do you know what I mean? She's like, and like, yeah, I think she'll just puck out in front and win. The only other horse interested, I might just double her up with. But see, the problem is like J.D. Grugy in the Sol Arena is going to be awfully short. Do you know what I mean? They're the two really bar anything like obviously Jericho the Repine is at Doncaster. Might have a look at him trot around thinking he's a machine, like all you British think he is. But anyway, Ashrow Diamond, J.D. Grugy are the only two that interest me really outside Cheltenham, to be honest with you, Dave. I'd just watch the rest and lose all my money and get it all back on Gidley Park.
Fair enough. Andrew, that Rosemare's hurdle, obviously we've had Annie Power won it when she went to the World Hurdle year, didn't she? Because Quevega was getting her last mare's hurdle. We had Vroom Vroom Mag that won this and then went and got beat at Cheltenham. Gala Marceau, Ashray Diamond, how do you split them in this race? Which one do you think is the best one for the mare's hurdle in March?
I'm not a real fan of Gala Marceau, to be honest with you. I never really took to her. Ashray Diamond, look, she's a decent horse. She's been ridden to place in grade ones, and then everyone loses their shit over the form. She should be beating her though, if she's any aspiration. I do agree with Cheltenham wise. I think she should be a lot shorter than Gala Marceau. Look, Gala Marceau went off and won at a time when, as Tom would like to say, everyone was drinking wine and on the piss and not even watching the race, and no one gave a shit what was happening. She won over there. She's held by Lossy Milk every time, bar the time at the Dublin Race Fest where Lossy Milk got trapped in a pocket for about 2 furlongs. But besides that, I think Ashray Diamond should win this. She should win it handy enough. But the one who I really like at Doncaster is in the Alba Bartle trial.
Go on.
Destroy the Evidence. I backed him against Shanga Bob the last time, and I thought the tactics were done to a T. But then the penny dropped to Shanga Bob, and he was consequently beat. But I like the way this fella goes about his business. He's a no-nonsense front runner, jumps really well, has good form in the book. Like Shanga Bob, look, obviously on the back of his win at Plumpton, you wouldn't be saying, oh, his form is good. But Shanga Bob, the way the penny dropped and the way he went away from that horse is going to be 10 times better the next time out. In behind him that day was Moon Dorge, who finished second to Johnny Who, the run before that, and I think that form will stack up, and I think he's going to get his own way out in front here, and I think the home straight up in Doncaster will see him stretch out, and it's going to be a typical David Bass fucking him at every hurdle in sight. And I think he will get the job done at 4-1. I think I see this fella going off favourite. Something about him I really like. He's uncomplicated, tough as teak. He's at having a good few runs this season. You know what you're getting, and the rest have to kind of get to that level. No, I'm rating the favourite right now. Welcome to Cartier is on the same level as him, but I think it'll take a really good horse to get back past him because he will put his head down and battle and battle and battle. I think he's a very good bet in this.
I like that. I mean, I've got one that I quite fancy in the Riverdon as well, so I'm glad we've come onto the race. I was going to do it anyway. The interesting thing when you touched on about David Bass there, about fucking throwing him at hurdles, I spoke to someone that's a very good friend of his, and he said to him like about how aggressive he is over a fence and that sort of stuff. And he said to him, "Why do you do it like that?" And he says, "Because I just want to fucking get to the other side as quickly as possible." Apparently, he hates jumping fences. He hates the obstacles, but that like aggression and stuff, he's like, well, me being like a pussy going into him's not going to get you anywhere. So you are spot on, especially when he's going over hurdles. Throws him into the lot, doesn't he? There is a line through Destroy the Evidence that ran with the horse that I quite fancy in here. And honestly, I just get so romantic with my cases that I make for horses. But Dripsy Moon has been targeted at this race by John McConnell. He won it with Marlon Mission a couple of years ago. The sire of Dripsy Moon is Let the Lion Roar, absolute dog. No one's ever heard of him. But he sired the Cob. The Cob won this race as well. This horse needs good ground. It's typically at Doncaster, the Riverdon is a bit of an attritional race, right? But if it's ever going to get it, it's going to get it on this good ground. Needs to step up in trip indefinitely. He has got a proper chance, Dripsy Moon, in the Albert Bartlett Riverdon. I'm telling you, you can laugh all you want. I'm telling you for a fact. Every single one, they're getting.
Any chance of you coming to the DRF next week? If you are, just make sure that Jamie takes all your money before this weekend starts, please.
Just give him a temper race. Just keep him under control because this could get messy.
Any one of you give me one reason why Dripsy Moon won't win it, other than the fact that you've looked at the card and it's 14-1. Any substantial reason?
John McConnell couldn't train a Dr. Bark this season.
Yeah, he only had 1 second in the Hennessy. That's about it all year.
All of them have been running.
There was something wrong with them, all right, yeah.
There's definitely something wrong with them.
Anderson by Lachlan. There's no form in there whatsoever that would entice me to go, oh, this fella's a decent price. I go for him. No, I just no.
The train-up form would definitely be a bit of a worry now for me, especially over here. Some of them have been running very, very poor.
And
been very
Kim Bailey's had one winner from about 50 runs, if you're saying trainer form, but you really fancy Destroy the Evidence. You can't knock a horse for trainer form and then tip up a horse where the trainer's literally in the same form.
Well, he's the one of very few that's been actually running with.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you're digging out of the trainer form on one side, but you use it as a positive on your side. It's just that, right? Just because I'm sticking up horses a bit of a price, very dismissive of everything that I'm putting up, isn't it? It just seems a bit of a fucking dig, if I'm honest. Right? Is there any other races we want to cover?
No, that's it.
No, don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, I do appreciate your guys' time on here. We'll leave it as that. I think we'll cut the stream off now.